Hi, this is Tony Anderson from thehappyhousewife.com, and I'm here today with three amazing bloggers for the Valpak Gobble Chat. And I know it's hard to believe, but Halloween is over and we are coming right up on Thanksgiving. So we're here this afternoon to talk to you about some tips and tricks to make your Thanksgiving a little bit easier this year. So with me today, I have Dana, and her site is the Coupon Challenge. Dana, can you introduce yourself?
Hi, yes, my site is thecouponchallenge.com, and I'm a mom of two, and mostly my blog is all about saving money at the grocery store. I'm using coupons and through Favado, and I also have a family travel site, thetalkingsuitcase.com.
Awesome. Well, we know where to go to find the Thanksgiving deals this month for sure. And also with us, we have Danelle from Operation 40K. Danelle, tell us a little bit about you and your site.
My site, Operation 40K, is because we save $40,000 in less than a year to buy a new home without a bank loan. And so now I help other families make their financial goals come true. And I'm also senior editor for Wisconsin Parent. Did you catch that or no?
Just hold on just a moment.
Do
we have Jessie yet, or is she still trying to get her technology all set up? All right, so Jessie is trying to get everything set up, but Jessie has a blog called Moolah Savings Mom, and she is a great blogger that tells you what you can find on sale at the grocery store and out in the retail stores. And I actually just met Jessie for the first time 2 weeks ago, so it was great to meet her and find out more about her and her family. And hopefully she can pop on in a couple minutes and tell us herself. So today we're going to be talking about Thanksgiving, and before we get started, I just wanted to let everybody know that our host Valpak has an awesome sweepstakes going on right now, and if you go to valpak.com/thanks, you can enter to win up to $1,000 in weekly and grand prize drawings. So definitely after this chat is over, head on over to Valpak and enter so that you can win some extra money for Thanksgiving or Christmas. So to hop into our questions, I guess hop is the wrong word, it's Thanksgiving, but to move into our questions, let's first talk about, what are your plans this year for Thanksgiving? I know Thanksgiving is, definitely a family holiday. A lot of people build a lot of traditions around Thanksgiving. So it would be fun to hear what our bloggers do for Thanksgiving, anything special that they have planned this year or things that they've done in the past. Let's start with you, Dana.
I get to be spoiled this year, and I'm just going to my mom's house. She'll do all the cooking for us, and the extended family will be there. And we're all excited because my brother was deployed last Christmas and Thanksgiving, so he will be able to join us this year.
That's awesome. Was he deployed for a full year and he's back now?
Yes.
Wonderful. I'm sure everyone will be really excited about that. Now, do you have to bring anything, or do you get to just show up with the family?
I just get to show up this year.
Okay, so are they looking to adopt any other kids?
Usually it's bring something. This year we just get to, I don't know, she's making it easy on us.
Nice. So what about you, Danelle? What are your big plans this year?
We have a small family get-together, and I get to host it this year, so there's going to be 24 people coming over.
I'm having trouble hearing Danelle. Sorry.
Well, we've got 24 people that are coming over. I get to host it this year. Can anybody else hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay.
Oh, I heard you there.
Okay. What I just said was that I've got 24 people coming over. I get to be the one hosting it this year.
So it looks like Jesse was able to join us. Jesse, we missed the introduction with you, so if you could just give us a brief introduction and tell us a little bit about Moolah Savings Mom.
Okay, I'm Jessie. I have 4 kids, and we have a bustling household, and I run Moolah Saving Mom, where we learn about how to spend less instead of saving more. Pretty much it.
Awesome, and I was just telling everybody that we actually got to meet in person a couple weeks ago, and that was really fun.
Yeah.
So what are do you have any family traditions for Thanksgiving or big plans this year for your family?
We are actually going to host it here at my house this year, which my mom has given up control of, so I'm scared and excited at the same time, so it's going to be a challenge, but we usually focus on just giving thanks on Thanksgiving, so we have a lot of kids' activities that we do every year.
That sounds like fun. Is it more like activities like outside, games, or crafts, or a little of both?
We're a really big crafty family, so we're always making things and just a lot of teaching the kids about the important things that we're thankful for. It's not always, I'm so glad I got a Game Boy for my birthday.
That's great. It's always good to work with the kids because I know around this time of year we got a Target catalog in the mail the other day. It was the toy catalog, and my kids looked like sharks in a feeding tank trying to pull, circle what they wanted and all that sort of stuff. So definitely important things to remember, as we move into the Thanksgiving and Christmas holiday.
Yeah.
So we're going to move on to our next question. And, Dana, I don't even want to ask you this because you have it easy this year. So we'll start with Jessie since we're already talking to her. And she's hosting this year. But could you just give us some tips of how you can actually jumpstart your Thanksgiving planning so you don't get overwhelmed? Things like, can you make food ahead of time, or what types of food would you make? And just things like that, because I know especially when you're hosting, you can easily get to like the day before Thanksgiving and think, why in the world did I sign up for this? So what are some tips?
Well, definitely already have your menu final. So know exactly what you're going to be serving and break it down by the ingredients. So you already know exactly what you're going to be making. So you can look for deals from now until Thanksgiving. But then I go ahead and prep everything. So maybe a couple of days before, I have all the celery chopped up or all the onions chopped up and put in freezer bags for the different items that I'm making. Make desserts as soon as possible. So, the weekend before Thanksgiving, we'll go ahead and make all the pies and everything, and we'll stick them in the freezer so that when it's Thanksgiving, then we can pop them in the oven and have them nice and hot. What else? And I always say make sure you know everything you're going to serve and have it written out, because you don't want to get to Thanksgiving and realize that you didn't get the cranberry sauce because you didn't write it down. So I already have everything written out. That always helps me to have a list.
With you hosting, are you asking for folks to bring stuff to help you out this year and in like sort of coordinating a whole, kind of meal plan, or are you taking on all the cooking as well?
I'm so type A that I don't trust my sisters to cook anything, but I did give them certain items to bring. I was like, hey, you're in charge of bringing nice napkins, and you're in charge of bringing this. So they have things they're bringing. I just don't trust them to cook for me. If it's going to be in my house being served, I want to make sure it's done right.
Okay, I hope they're not watching.
They know.
So what about you, Danelle? What are some tips that you have for just getting prepared and actually having a very relaxing Thanksgiving as opposed to a frantic running around sort of day?
Well, having 24 people coming over, I'm keeping it very, very simple. I start by having delegated a lot of things, so everybody knows what they are bringing. And those are things that I do, like the appetizers, the pies, maybe salads or some side dishes, things like that. That makes it really simple so that what I deal with is kind of literally just the meat and the potatoes and a couple of casseroles. I agree totally with Jessie. Lists. So yes, queen of lists here. But you have to know who's bringing what and then what all you're serving. And then I break it down, the grocery list, and kind of go from there. So it's try and keep it simple. This is not where I want to make it look like we're Martha Stewart living in this house. It's, real food. And it's really just about getting together with the family and having a great time.
Those are great tips, and I love that, you know, first of all, I can't believe you're having 24 people over. That's crazy, but I'm sure it will be a fabulous time. But I love the fact that you're kind of making the staple meat and potatoes, and, you know, everyone else is bringing the side dishes, because that takes a lot of work off you trying to then make all these other things. And, you know, you have the two kind of main things, and then everyone else gets to bring. And, you know, we definitely are at Martha Stewart. And as Jesse said, you know, the holiday is about coming together, giving thanks, and really focusing on friendships and family, and, you know, not to get carried away with, you know, having to have this absolutely perfect, you know, table setting and gourmet meal. Although I might be coming to Jesse's if I know she's cooking everything. It's tempting. So Dana, I know that you're headed to your mom's, but in the past, you know, what have you done in the years that you've hosted Thanksgiving at your house?
Pretty much everything that has already been covered, except I would also set the dining room table the day before, so I would have the tablecloth and the plates and all the cutlery, and even the centerpiece, and anything else I was doing would be done the day before. And then my kids would make the little table settings or name cards for everyone, because they think that's fun. So they create those and set those out on the table, so then I don't even have to worry about that.
That's great, and I love getting the kids involved. Is there anything else that you have your kids help you with?
When they were younger, they used to make their own mats, and I would laminate them just to kind of keep my nice placemats a little cleaner. But now that they're older, they, you know, don't do that as much anymore. They're too big, I guess, now.
Maybe they can actually use the placemats and not ruin them, right?
Usually, yes.
So I'm talking to the absolute perfect three people for this next question. What are easy ways to save on groceries? So Dana, we'll start with you.
Well, really, one of the biggest things that has already kind of been mentioned is to shop early. Start shopping right now and start looking for all those deals, because this is the time that they're coming out. And, you know, you can look for their promotions where you have the 29-cent a pound turkey. So if you can, you know, save on that, you know, the big bird, especially for someone 24 people coming over, then that can really help save a lot. And then if you, let's see. Oh, another thing, some international markets, we have one locally that has really fresh and cheap vegetables. So instead of going to the grocery store or even the farmer's market, that's, if, you know, we can still find them around this time of year, they start to get more expensive. So if we shop at the international market, we have a huge savings. And then if you fix it fresh, that's typically a little cheaper than buying prepared foods. So those are my big tips, but I'm sure the other two have even more.
That's great, and I love the international market idea. I know that I've always lived by, you know, one or two, and it seems like it's definitely a great place for produce, for sure. I mean, there's a great place for a lot of different items, but especially for, you know, a real traditional holiday like Thanksgiving, being able to save, you know, cut corners on things like produce is great, because that's, this time of year it's actually getting very expensive.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. Danelle, what about you? How can you save?
Well, first of all, when you delegate stuff, that helps your grocery budget really quick right there. Obviously, making the list like everybody else has said, shopping early, using your coupons, price matching is huge. A lot of grocery stores let you price match turkeys as long as it's the same brand. And I cook off 2 big turkeys because of the crowd. So I also like to send care packages home with the seniors in the family so that they have like heat and eat meals ready to go for the next day or two. But so yeah, for me it's delegating and then just watching the sales and doing price matching.
Those are great tips, and I love the price matching tip. I know there are several stores that price match, so definitely, you know, watch those circulars and you know, check the prices so that you're not paying more for the same item in a different store. Also, I love the delegating. That's so true. I mean, if you're only responsible for, Jessie just likes to spend money, I guess. Either that or she's such a deal pro that she's found the secret to feed everybody. But yeah, I love the delegating, because then you're only paying for a few things, and if you are cooking, you know, a couple turkeys, for sure, you definitely want to save on the other areas. So Jessie, since you're buying it all, we're ready for your awesome tips.
Well, you should know I have like almost everything except for the fresh items already in my pantry. I've been buying for Thanksgiving since July. But I don't like price matching is a really great way to save money. Because I live in the land of double coupons, I don't price match because the stores that do price match aren't going to double my coupon. So I of course use the search feature on my site or the Favado app to find out, okay, these are the last 3 things on my list I need to buy for Thanksgiving. Where are they going to be cheapest? And I kind of keep an eye on them. And so I know, okay, this week I need to go to Harris Teeter because they have the potatoes as a loss leader, but Lowe's Foods across, next door to them is going to have the carrots that are really cheap. So just finding the deals and hitting the loss leaders at each store. And like she said, a lot of the stores are going to start price matching turkeys, but I usually find that they're going to be really cheap next week is what I saw. The week coming up, even though it's a little bit before Thanksgiving, the frozen ones are going to be cheaper in the next couple weeks. And then, of course, the closer you get to Thanksgiving, the more expensive they're going to get. So really by now, I'm only having to get the produce and the turkey. Everything else is already in the freezer or in the pantry.
So I just learned something that I shouldn't be buying my turkey 5 days before Thanksgiving like I normally do.
Like this week at one of our local stores called Just Say Foods, they have the Jenny O turkey for like 43 cents a pound, I think, which is a really good deal. So this would be the week that if I was going to buy a turkey, I'd buy it there.
So I know all 3 of you all live in different parts of the country, and so you're obviously shopping at different stores. You live in Double World, so obviously that's a great advantage. So just real quick, if we want to go down the line, Jessie, Danelle, Dana, if you could just shop one store for Thanksgiving, just give me your quick pick.
I would probably pick Harris Teeter because they're going to have the double coupons and the instant savings promotions, the Catalinas, the EVIC coupons that you can stack, so that's probably where I would pick.
And you have this all on your site, right? Moolah Savings Mart, so we can learn. All right, what about you, Danelle? Where would you go?
Cops Pick and Save. Again, double coupons, yay. But then sorry,
okay,
it wasn't
Dana,
working.
what about you? Where would you shop?
Well, since Jessie just picked Harris Teeter, I will have to go with my other store, Farm Fresh. They also do doubles, but they have double dollar Wednesdays. So that'll have to be my pick this week.
What's Double Dollar Wednesday? And I'm sure this is on your site as well, too, right? On the coupon challenge?
Yes, they'll double your dollar coupons. So if you have your dollar coupon, it'll be worth $2 on Wednesday only.
Oh, awesome. Okay, so it sounds like all 3 of you ladies are just amazing shoppers, and you know all the tricks to getting all these deals and price matching and stocking up and the dollar doubles and the Catalinas, and my head is now spinning, and I wish I lived by a Harris Teeter, and so, so Jessie, you've been stocking up on food since July. Where do you keep it all? Because one of the reasons why I'm the last-minute turkey purchaser is because I don't have room in my refrigerator for the 20-pound turkey. So, if we want to, let's start with Dana since we've got her on the screen. What are your tips for storing this food, especially since all of you guys mentioned that you're stocking up and planning ahead? So where are you, I know obviously not the produce, but where are you keeping the rest of the stuff, and are there any tricks to like getting the stuff in the freezer or things like that?
Well, I do have an extra freezer and an extra refrigerator in my garage, so I have it pretty easy. But I try to just keep everything really organized, so sometimes I'll take things out of the packaging and just maybe keep the cooking instructions, so then I don't have all these big boxes. Sometimes that'll help me save a little bit of space. And then if you have people bringing stuff, your sides or your desserts, then you really don't have to have as much space at all.
That's where we get Danelle, because she is getting everybody to bring the items. So what do you do? How do you store? I know you're not keeping as much stuff because you have people coming, but even when people come that day, do you have places to store it until you eat, or how do you work all that?
Well, I live in Wisconsin, and we've already had snow. So if you have a porch, that becomes your additional freezer. So it's really easy to set stuff out in the back porch freezer to keep things nice and cool until you're ready to use it. But I believe in square containers. So many people use the big round bowls, and those don't stack very well. Square containers, because that gives you modular storage in your refrigerator. You can make things like your dressing, mashed potatoes, all that stuff in advance, 2 to 3 days, and then heat meat to serve. But in square containers, it takes space up in your refrigerator a lot better.
Those are great tips. And we used to live in West Virginia, and I can remember putting the pies on the porch to keep them cold, and setting all the food out on the porch, not even thinking twice. Now we live in Florida, so I can't even walk from the car to the house without it melting. So that's not an option anymore. But yeah, if you live up north, your front porch is a great place to store your food. And I also love the square containers. I have a lot of those round Ziploc plastic disposables, and I need to get some square ones, because you're right, those would stack a lot better in the freezer and definitely take up less space. And of course, we'll go to Mrs. Stockpile finally, and Jessie's going to share with us how she's been able to hold all that stuff since July. She's going to tell me she lives up north in a 3-story house with a basement and an attic, I'm sure.
Well, we do, but I actually live in North Carolina. But like Dana, I have an extra fridge and a deep freezer in our garage, so that stays stocked all year long. But with the storage in the refrigerator, I actually prefer the Ziploc or hefty freezer bags, because they conform to the shape of what I'm making. I might not have enough to fill a big square or round container, so I like the Ziploc bags. You just push the extra air out of it, and then I can lay it down in the fridge or stand it up. So I store anything that needs to be in the refrigerator and the freezer in Ziploc bags, and then once I have my list finalized and I'm pulling stuff out of the pantry to see what I need to buy for Thanksgiving, I actually put a box in the pantry. And so all the shelf-stable items for Thanksgiving go into that box, and it serves 2 purposes. It keeps me organized and keeps my husband and kids from cooking something that I need for Thanksgiving dinner. So they know if it's in that box, it's special and you don't touch it. So that's the way. And you can even just keep it in your kitchen, underneath the table or against the window for a couple of days or a week while you're getting ready.
Or on the front porch, wherever.
It's not cold enough here yet.
I like the box idea, because I found that when I do stock up, my kids think that means Pop-Tarts for breakfast every day for a month. So they tend to dig into it right away. So I love the idea of putting it into the box and marking it. Not that we serve Pop-Tarts on Thanksgiving, but I love that idea. I think that's great. Now, since you are buying your turkey ahead of time, this next question will start with Jessie. What are the easiest and best ways to defrost a turkey? I often find that I buy my turkey and I put it in the fridge, and still, a couple days before Thanksgiving, and I pull it out and it's still half frozen Thanksgiving morning, because they're frozen so solid that it's really hard for them to thaw out quickly. So if you're like me and all of a sudden the night before you realize that your turkey is still a block of ice, what are some tips for getting that to thaw?
Well, I don't know the exact times and temperatures, but I know you can keep it in cold water in the sink. Actually, I saw a really great idea. We like to brine our turkey, so we actually defrost it while it brines. And instead of doing that in your fridge, you can do that in a cooler. If you put a trash bag in the cooler and then put the frozen turkey in it, and just put a saltwater solution, and then just keep it covered in ice, you can actually brine it as you thaw it out, as long as you keep enough ice in it to keep it cold. So that will keep it out of your freezer space while letting it thaw out.
That's great. I love the cooler idea. I wouldn't have. Why the garbage bag? Just to keep.
Well, just because my coolers, or if you're like my kids, our coolers are never clean enough that I would feel comfortable putting a fresh turkey in it. So at least the new garbage bag, is clean inside.
Right, and you probably got the garbage bag for free, so it's no.
Close to it.
So what about you, Danelle? You not only have to thaw a turkey, you've got to thaw out your whole family in Wisconsin. So what are your recommendations for thawing out a turkey before Thanksgiving?
Well, I had a restaurant and a catering company, and one of the things that you learn in the sanitation certification coursework is to never thaw a bird out of the refrigerator or cooler. So in the sink with water, you're inviting food poisoning, and people who like leave it on their counter overnight to thaw, they're just lucky if their family doesn't get sick. So the general rule of thumb is 4 pounds per day to thaw out. So a 20-pound bird should thaw out in 5 days in your refrigerator. If it doesn't, if you use the turkey bags to cook it, it doesn't matter if your bird's still frozen or not. You can put it in the turkey bags, and it thaws as it cooks, and you don't have to worry about it because it kind of steams it inside the bag also. So like halfway through your cooking time, you can take it out and then take the bag of frozen stuff out of the middle, you know, the giblets and stuff, if your turkey was too frozen when you started to go ahead and cook it in the oven. So I've cooked turkeys that were half frozen before, and they come out absolutely beautiful.
Okay, I just learned a ton from you, Danelle. I had no idea that you could pull out the giblets halfway through, because that's the thing is I want to cook it frozen, and then I realize that it has all that stuff. I don't call it giblets. I call it crap that I don't want to touch. But anyway, so yeah, I didn't know that you could just. So do you just take it out of the oven and like do tongs and pull it out, or how does that work?
It's kind of like a giant Ziploc bag that's made for the oven. You put like 2 tablespoons of flour and then stick your turkey in there. So I pull it out of the oven, open up the bag, take the stuff out of the middle, tie the bag back up, and put it right back in the oven. What's nice is the bag holds all the juices too, so if you like to use your pan drippings to go ahead and make gravy, it's all inside the bag.
Okay, I am learning so much on this chat. I had no idea. So Dana, what about you? Any tips for thawing out a turkey? I feel like we just got the professional involved. So
Yeah, I don't know if I want to say anything now, but what we do is we put it also in a cooler, but with nothing else in it, and then you have to keep checking it, but it'll usually thaw out within a day or two. So that's what we do, but I don't know now if that's exactly what we should be doing.
I know, we're all going to get salmonella now. So Danelle recommends, and I've read this I think on the turkey cooking instructions, the 4 pounds per day to thaw in the fridge. So obviously we get to all use our math skills and figure out, you know, how many days ahead of time we'll need to be thawing that turkey. And if you're like me, you're in trouble, but you can cook it now frozen. So I think we're all good. Now we have a question from Eleanor from Twitter. And this is a great question. I think it's one that everybody really wants to know is how do you keep a turkey moist? So the only way I've ever cooked a turkey is in a bag, like a cooking bag. I don't know what the official name for those are. And that seems like it works pretty well. But, you know, I have one friend that likes to slather her turkey in mayonnaise and cook it. Seems disgusting, but it actually, you don't really taste the mayonnaise at the end of the day. But I know Jesse's like swallowing some throw up there. But anyway, like when she did it, I thought I was gonna, but it actually tasted really good, and it was a nice trick to keeping it moist. But I think we're going to start with Danelle because she's definitely the pro here. And what are your tips for getting a nice moist turkey at the end of the day?
Well, I like brining it, like she mentioned. We've done that before. But using the turkey bag, seriously, it is super moist every single time. The turkey bags, it's like a no screw-up way of cooking a turkey ever. So those are my 2 big things.
Okay, I love the foolproof method from Danelle. I'm glad to know that something I'm doing for Thanksgiving turkey is working out. Okay, Jesse, I know Danelle mentioned brining the turkey, and you mentioned that you do that as well. So can you give us a little more information on how you would brine a turkey? Like what's involved in that?
It's really simple. I just Google a recipe every year, but it's basically just a salt and sugar water solution that you keep the turkey in for a couple of days and kind of like soaks it all in. So that always makes chicken and turkey really juicy and moist. But being here in the South, fried food is really big. So we've actually been doing fried turkeys every year, deep fried turkeys. And you have to really be careful to follow the directions on the turkey fryer because they're very dangerous. But they always come out really juicy and moist because they're deep fried.
So with the frying, you have to have a turkey fryer, obviously, and I'm sure those are available Walmart, Home Depot, anywhere.
Yeah, and a big thing of vegetable oil or whatever kind of oil it is. I don't do it. I just watch. So I'm not getting near the fire, but it always comes out really juicy and moist. And then, like I said, we also cook a small turkey breast just by itself because some people don't like them fried, and we brine those, and then we use the turkey bags for the breast meat.
Okay, and the brining is something that you can't do the day of. You have to start that a couple days ahead of time as well.
Yeah, we usually brine those for like 3 days in the fridge. So, yeah, something. But you still got plenty of time. It's only the 5th.
That's right. So everybody Google brining a turkey on November 20th, so you'll be ready to go. And you can get that recipe. It sounds really simple, and I've heard other people talk about brining other types of meat, so I'm sure it is great for a turkey as well. What about you, Dana? Do you have any tips for a nice moist turkey?
We just always, kept foil over it through most of the cooking and then taking it off near the end to let it brown. But I'm thinking the roasting bag this year might be the way to go.
Yeah, I've used those for years, and honestly, my very first turkey that I tried to make, I didn't realize I had a broken oven, and so the turkey cooked for like 14 hours, and then it was still undone. I was such a bad cook when I was first married that I didn't even know I had a broken oven. But anyway, ever since that first turkey was a disaster, I bought these oven bags, and they're the best thing ever. So that's definitely what I use when we do a turkey, and I think, yeah, Danelle's right, you just can't screw that up. So. The next question is from Nikki. Did we lose Danelle? Is she going to pop back on? Yes? Okay. Nikki on Google Plus asks, and this might be a good one to start with you, Dana, because you're headed to your mom's this year. What's an easy side to take when you have to travel to get there? So I know we've talked a little bit about food safety and making sure that, the things that we're bringing are prepared correctly. So if you're traveling and you have to, be in the car for an hour, what's a good side dish that holds up, over a period of time? I immediately think of like rolls, but there's got to be some more creative ideas out there. So any ideas, Dana?
When I have to bring something, I always would opt for the vegetable because you can heat it pretty easily once you get there, like carrots, parsnips, or green beans. Some people like collards. I don't, but that's usually brought over to my mother's house. And some people like sweet potato casserole, so things like that with vegetables seem to travel well.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I like the vegetables because you can almost prepare them at the house when you get there. You don't even really, because they're usually pretty simple. Danelle, I know that you're pretty much the professional here, so pressure's on now. Nikki from Google Plus asked, what's an easy side dish to bring to a dinner if you have to travel with it? Not long distance, but 45 minutes to an hour. Any ideas on what you can travel with safely? And it's not a huge pain, like you don't want to bring the whole crock pot with you or something like that.
Yeah. Well, there's always the standard, the green bean casserole, which I personally can't stand, but there's people at every family get-together that are just dying for it, and we all have the ingredients for almost all of that in our pantries normally anyways. One thing that I like to bring, and it's not exactly the healthiest, but it's really yummy, it takes a bag of frozen California blend vegetables, 8 ounces of Velveeta cheese, and a sleeve of Ritz crackers. You cube the cheese, put it over the frozen veggies, crush up the Ritz crackers, put that over that, and you just wait until you get to the house. You zap it for 4 minutes, stir, zap it for 4 minutes, and you've got a California blend casserole that's kind of cheesy, ready to rock, and it's that quick and easy.
That's a great idea, and I love, both Dana and Danelle have now said, we don't necessarily have to show up with the dish ready to eat. I love the idea of bringing it and then just finishing the preparation at the house. That's a great idea. And anything with Velveeta and Thanksgiving, I think, are made for each other, so that's I also feel like this is like a true confession of Thanksgiving food we don't like. We've got collards and green bean casserole, so Jesse, you have to start by saying what Thanksgiving food you don't like, and then you can give us an idea for what's a great travel side dish.
I can't stand cranberry sauce, so I'll pass on that. But I think macaroni and cheese is one of my favorites to take because it kind of all stays together. So even if it slides off whoever's supposed to be holding it in the car, it still kind of stays together in the pan. But we used to travel to my mom's. She's about 45 minutes away, and I love actually taking the whole crock pot. They make some now that have travel lids on them that actually like clip down and lock, and then actually an insulated carry bag. So I can unplug it at the house, put it in the bag, take it to hers, and then plug it right back in. So I actually do like taking the crock pot with us. But macaroni and cheese homemade applesauce is another one that's a really big hit at our house, and you can make that in the crock pot or the pan. So they don't have to be fancy dishes to take with you, just favorite ones.
That's great, and I know that we had a crock pot spill in the car once, and I think it was chili, and our car smelled like chili for 3 months. But I've seen the new ones with the lids that kind of strap on, and they have the insulated case, and that's definitely great. I also have those like Pyrex portables that have like a pack that you can heat or cool, and they also have the insulated case and the lid, and you can give that to a kid to carry in, and he usually makes it. And then things like cookies and cakes and brownies, those obviously they can be made ahead, and then you can bring them, and they travel pretty well in any sort of like a Tupperware, or even in the baking pan that you make them in. So sounds like we've got lots of ideas for what to take with us, and lots of things that your families will never serve to you again now that they know the truth. So one of the things that's kind of we've become more aware of in the past couple of years are food allergies, and it seems like nowadays it's very common to have a family member or a close friend or relative with a pretty serious food allergy. So it's not just a preference of not liking cranberry sauce. It's cranberry sauce will land you in the ER. So what are some tips for making a Thanksgiving meal that also incorporates let's just use two pretty not popular but common examples right now, which would be like gluten-free, or if you had a vegetarian at your house at Thanksgiving. If you could just share some ideas of things that you could make to accommodate folks who need to eat something different. So we'll start with you, Jessie.
It's funny that you picked those two, because I actually have a cousin that's vegan and a cousin that has celiac disease, so she can't have gluten. So we deal with this a lot when we have my grandma's house. Roast vegetables is like the #1 thing that both of them can have, and everyone else will eat. So roasted vegetables, a lot of fruits, fruit salads, different baked fruits, they can eat those. So instead of having like apple pie, we'll have baked apples, because both of them can eat them and everybody else likes them too. So really, you're pretty safe if you stay with anything vegetable based. And whenever we had events at my grandma's, there was the vegan and the gluten-free people that needed those, and then the rest of us who liked everything. So we would have our turkey and have our rolls, but make sure that there was enough options of the other items that they could make a full meal off of too.
That's great, and definitely the vegetables are a good way to incorporate everybody's dietary needs. One thing that one of my good friends is gluten-free, and we've spent a couple of Thanksgivings with her. And one thing that never occurred to me until we were friends was that we didn't put the stuffing in the turkey. So, because once the stuffing was in the turkey, she couldn't eat it. So something as simple as, just baking your stuffing on the side made, the turkey available to her. And everyone still got to enjoy the stuffing that didn't need to avoid gluten, but she was able to also eat the turkey. And, just making sure that you read the labels on any like rubs or spices that you're using on your dishes, because if a lot of times now any sort of a mixture or a blend that you buy could have some gluten in it or been processed in a place that wasn't necessarily gluten-free. So those are the things that I learned just from having a friend that couldn't have gluten, and things that I probably wouldn't have thought of had we not been friends. So now I'm sure you have some ideas, being a former caterer. What are some ideas that you have?
For the world of vegetarian, a lot of people forget that they're adding broth to different side dishes. So you have to make sure that you're doing a vegetable broth instead of like a chicken or turkey broth. Not stuffing the bird. There are a lot of things that vegetarians can eat, everything from tossed salads, Jell-O, your mashed potatoes, squash, sweet potatoes, all of that stuff. If you delegate, it's smart to have them bring their favorite dish, because then they know that there's at least one thing that they can make themselves. If you're talking gluten-free, thicken your gravy with cornstarch, not flour. There's so many amazing gluten-free mixes and products and things like that that are out there. It's really not a huge change to switch it up. The goofy food allergy we have in my house is my daughter can't eat fresh fruits and fresh vegetables. So everything has to be cooked. So it's, yeah, not fresh apples or fresh cranberries. It's a cooked cranberry sauce or baked apples, things like that. But there are amazing hazelnut flours, things like that, that add an amazing flavor to if you're doing an apple pie, using that in your crust, things like that too. So it's really not that big a deal. It's just a few small, simple switches when you have guests with special dietary needs over.
And I think that's a great point that you bring up as far as, there's stuff out there and available at the grocery store that we can purchase and use. And I think that, it's really a blessing for your friends or anybody who suffers from food allergies to be able to have, I know that the friends that I have that struggle with this, it's hard for them to go to a lot of public events because they never know what they're going to be able to eat. So, making sure that the people that are coming, asking if they have food allergies, and then, even putting the effort into, having them make something, but then you making something that is safe for them to eat and that they'll enjoy. I think that, especially at a time like Thanksgiving when it's all about giving back and thanking, something that we can do for other people. And I love that, there's so many things available. And that's a great reminder, especially with the flours and the broth and things like that, just being really aware. Dana, do you have any ideas?
We do have 2 vegetarians in our family, but most of it has pretty much already been discussed. They do bring their own kind of tofurkey, so I don't know, they seem to enjoy it, so they bring that themselves, and then they eat some of the sides. Like, we're just, try to be conscious that we don't put any animal products. Like, if we're having green beans, we just make sure that's something that they can still eat. Like Jessie said, we do fruit salad. And then occasionally we've, added a little ethnic twist on it, and sometimes just done rice and beans as a side, and then that's safe for the vegetarians to eat.
That's great. I like the ethnic idea. I think that sometimes we get pigeonholed into this. We need to have turkey and green bean casserole and cranberries and mashed potatoes. And, there's really a lot of amazing, ideas out there. And I mean, go on Pinterest, Google, and you'll find a lot of great, side dishes and main dishes that are, can be specially made for people that can't necessarily eat, the standard Thanksgiving fare. So I love the idea of, rice and beans. Or one year we made a lasagna. We just wanted it to be very simple, and so we had lasagna and garlic bread and salad for Thanksgiving. Now, obviously, that's not a gluten-free meal, but it was a vegetarian meal. So, you don't have to stick with the tradition. You can always do something different, and I think, your family might rebel, but some people might be happy not to have the green bean casserole. So, who knows? So after the dinner is over, I know at my house, we always overcook. So we end up with, because I always panic the day before Thanksgiving and run out to the store and buy like double of everything that I've already bought because I'm worried we're going to run out of food, and then we end up the next day having way too much food. And when I haven't lived somewhere where I can put them on the porch, what are some ways to store? And we've talked a lot about the Ziplocs and things like that, but what are some ideas for, really, like, not everybody wants to eat a turkey sandwich for 5 days in a row. So what are some creative ideas for repurposing some of that Thanksgiving food, and give us some recipe ideas or just things that you've done to help, sort of handle the leftovers? Dana, since you had to go last time, I'll let you go first.
Let's see. Well, if you decide, some people like to do ham, so you can make different kinds of soups with your ham bone. We've done that. Or like a ham salad. And then with the turkey, we've done turkey pot pies. And then if you have carrots left over, you've already have 2 of the ingredients. And then we've done a turkey salad. And then just to get rid of some of the sides, we like to send some food home with people. So, all the family members will just, take a little bit of usually the turkey or the ham, whatever we have, and split that up.
Yeah, that's great, and I think that's a good time to have those, disposable containers in your house and in extra Ziploc bags so that you're not sending people home with your dishes, because you probably won't see them again until next Thanksgiving. So, Danelle, what about you? What are your ideas for some of those leftover items?
I do like to send some food home with the seniors, the 70-plus crowd, so that they have some quick heat and eat meals. There are simple things that you can do, like a quick and easy casserole is to put the dressing in the bottom of the container like a baking dish, and then put some cut up turkey, pour gravy over it, and then a little bit of the cranberry relish down the center. You can throw that right in the freezer, and so when you're ready to look at turkey again, you can pull it out and just bake it off, heat it through. We also like to make turnovers, where you get like puff pastry, and then you put the turkey, maybe some dressing and some cranberries, and make your own little turnovers that way. When you bake it off, then it kind of, when you say the word turnover, it just sounds like, ooh, something kind of gourmet, and they don't have to realize that you're just creatively repurposing your leftovers. So if you have a bunch of different kinds of veggies, throw them all together, make vegetable soup out of it. We've done the whole pot pie thing also. Pretty much if you don't want the inside of your refrigerator to look like an aluminum mine the day after Thanksgiving, it's get your leftovers put away the right way. So chop, slice, dice. Take that extra bit of time when you're putting away the leftovers so that it's easier to deal with in the days coming up ahead.
That's a great idea. I love sort of getting it all chopped up because, yeah, it definitely looks like an aluminum mine in my refrigerator for sure. And so I know you gave that recipe for the stuffing and turkey that you could freeze. How long does that last in the freezer before you have to cook it?
Well, once your family tastes it, it won't last that long because they'll know it's there and they'll go, did you make that yet? Make sure to always pick up an extra bird or two with all these big sales specials because turkey tastes fine in January and a turkey will stay in your freezer for a year. But usually I don't like to recommend anything in a freezer for more than 4 months.
That's good to know. So Jesse, I know that you're a stockpiler anyway. So what are some ideas that you have for stockpiling some of those leftovers?
Well, we don't. Usually most of it gets eaten, but like the other said, we'll send some home. So probably next week I'll head over to the Dollar Tree and pick up a lot of their little disposable. They usually come in 3 to 4 packs. They even have like the little cardboard lid so that each person who comes can take some of their favorite food home with them. Although I won't admit that I hide my grandmother's green beans that she can so that they can't take the extras home because those are mine. So everyone gets to take a little bit home, but then I actually make like TV tray dinners in those Dollar Tree pans. We'll put a little bit of stuffing, a little bit of turkey, a little bit of ham, a little bit of everything. I found my mashed potatoes don't freeze very well, so we skip that. And we'll actually make like little TV tray dinners, wrap them in saran wrap, stick them in the freezer, and then, come the end of December when life gets really hectic, we can just pull it out and pop it in the oven or put it on a plate and microwave it. So again, the freezer bags come in really handy. We do country ham, so I'll freeze all the extra slices of country ham. And then if we're going to make omelets, I'll take a little piece out, dice it up, and throw it in the scrambled eggs to make omelets, or we'll pan fry it with some rice. So we reuse it throughout, December and into January, just out of the freezer bags. You can take a little bit out each time.
So for those of us who are not from the South, what is country ham?
You've never had country ham? Oh my goodness. It's basically like, we call them sugar ham or country ham. It's just instead of being cured with sugar, it's cured with salt, and they're really salty. So you actually have to soak it for days to pull the salt out of it.
I actually have, now that you say that, I have had one, and they are extremely salty.
They're so good.
So, yeah, my husband's grandmother was raised in Alabama and then in Virginia, and she brought that one year to Thanksgiving, and I was expecting like a honey ham, which is what I grew up with, and my first bite was a little shocking. But yes, I do know what that is now. So I know, like, my daughter just got married this year and, has, her new family, and I know there's a lot of people, just starting out with their families, and they want to create Thanksgiving traditions. And I think, this time of year when, even families that seem like they're just kind of running all year and it's like, oh, we don't do anything, people tend to stop and start making memories and are real purposeful right around this time. So if you were talking to someone who was just starting out and they said, hey, I want a family tradition around Thanksgiving, what would you say to them? What ideas would you have for them? Jesse?
So one of our favorite things that we've done for a couple years now as I have three sisters, so we've all started having children. We've gotten more and more little kids in our family. We print out either a shape of a leaf, and we actually have a template on my site, or trace our hands, and everyone writes down what they're thankful for this year and date it with the year. So I think we have like 2 or 3 years going back now, and we actually line them as the center runner of the Thanksgiving table. So you can go back and see, 3 years ago when my son Daniel was, 4, he was super thankful that he was the only boy in the family, and now he has, 6 boy cousins, and now that's what he's thankful for. So you kind of see how things change what you're thankful for. So that's one that we really like to do, is just kind of go back and look at last year's thankfulness.
That's a great idea. I absolutely love it. And I love that you use them on the table, because I know, like, my kids would just love being able to, my kids think it's so fun to watch themselves on a video from a year ago, so I'm sure that they would love to, read what they wrote from the year before. That's a great idea. Dana, do you have any ideas for us?
One fun thing that we like to do is the oldest member of the family will usually write something down or tell a story. So it's something, whatever that he or she wants, the rest of the family members to remember. Sometimes it's like a story from their childhood, or other times it's just a type of, family history that probably would have gotten lost had, he not taken the time to tell us all. So a way to remember everything.
I think that's great. I think that's a great, it's a great way for your kids to learn from the older people in the family, and it's a great way to honor the older people in your family as well. So that's a really fun tradition. Danelle, what about you? Do you have any family traditions?
We have the Thanksgiving tablecloth. It's a white, simple tablecloth, and then we always have fabric markers, so everybody every year writes something they're thankful for, and they sign and date it. And it's really neat when you look back at the tablecloth and you see people who are no longer with your family anymore. And it's just a great way to remember those that are with you and then those that are no longer with you.
I love that idea. I think I'm gonna borrow it this year. That is just an amazing idea. I absolutely love it. I wish we would have been doing it for the past 20 years. That's great. Really special. Okay, we are almost finished, but real quick, give me your best Thanksgiving tip. It can be about food, it can be about saving money, it can be about, planning, anything. So Danelle, we'll start with you. Just if you could say one tip to somebody, what would it be?
Just relax and drink plenty of wine. You're looking at spending time with your family. So many people get so worked up about everything has to be perfect, the perfect decorations, all the kids have to look perfect, we need the perfect pictures, the perfect food, everything has to look photo ready. Lives are not magazine covers. It's all about spending quality time with your family. So relax, enjoy the moment, and like I said, have a glass of wine.
That's great. I love it. Dana, what about you?
For us, we try to remember, now that there's so many grandkids and everything, that we just try to remember it's for them and trying to create new traditions for them. So instead of getting stressed out about, toys all over the place and the kids throwing food, we just, try to remember, everything, because, in a few years, they're going to not want to participate or would rather be texting with their friends. So, try to remember, as they are now when they're little, and so later you have all those memories.
That's great, and that's so true. Not getting stressed out by all the toys and mess and craziness. Usually on Thanksgiving you have a whole lot of people packed into a very small space, so it's easy to get stressed out about that. Jessie, what about you?
I would say they've mostly said all of the great things about being thankful and remembering that. I would say it's okay if the turkey burns, because you can make grilled cheese sandwiches. It's okay if things don't turn out perfectly. I think that's one thing I'm so OCD about. Some things I get really upset when things don't go exactly how I planned them, but I've kind of realized on Thanksgiving it's not going to go the way I planned. I might have to stick the turkey back in for 20 more minutes, or someone might break the gravy boat. But like I said, it's just all about being with family. It doesn't matter if you're eating pizza or turkey that's perfectly roasted. but just let go, like the song says, and everyone will eat and you'll be happy.
Are you going to break out into Frozen for us?
No, I will not.
So these are great tips, and I love, you guys are so right. It's really about making those memories. And I know, there might be some people listening to this. For our family, we didn't live by family for a lot of Thanksgivings because we were in the military. And so we spent a lot of Thanksgivings wishing that we were at a family gathering. But what we realized is that, your close friends and people in your community and your neighborhood can become your family. And so the first couple years we kind of pouted and felt sorry for ourselves and ordered Chinese. And then we realized that, hey, we have a community that's also our family. So we started doing like the family list family Thanksgiving, where everybody that we knew that didn't have, like either they couldn't travel on Thanksgiving or their family was too far away, we just had everybody over, or we went to somebody else's house. And, I absolutely love Thanksgiving with my family, but those Thanksgivings with those groups of people were some of our best memories. My kids still say those were our best memories. We loved doing that because we were all kind of in the same boat, and we all were missing our families, and we all wished that we could be with them, but we knew that we couldn't, and we made the best of it. And there was no worry about perfection. There was no family drama. There was none of that. It was just getting together. And I think whether you're able to be with your family or with close friends or even just your immediate family, it's really not about the food or the preparation or the tablecloth. It's really about that time with others and really just thinking about, as all you guys have mentioned, the things that you're thankful for and the memories through the years. So I think you guys have really, you've given us some great practical tips, but you've also kind of helped bring us back to like, hey, why are we doing this anyway? And I think that's really important because this time of year is crazy. I mean, I was just in the store with Christmas decorations up, and it's like they just want to push you into January 1st right now. And so just taking that time and being thankful and really just celebrating that time together is really what it's all about. So thank you guys for really just like reminding us all of that today before things get super crazy, because I think everyone needs to be reminded of that at this time of year. So thank you again, ladies. This was awesome. I loved all your tips. I actually have notes from tips. You guys were great. Dana from the Coupon Challenge, thank you. I know you got to run pick up your kids from school.
Yes.
So thank you for joining us.
I do.
And Danelle from Operation 40K, seriously, can I call you and get some food tips, please?
By all means, all my recipes are on my site.
Awesome. So go to Operation 40K and get Danelle's amazing ideas. And then Jessie, I'm going to go shopping with you, please, to Harris Teeter. You can find her at Savings Mom, and she has a great website with lots of tips. And I just encourage everybody to go check out their sites. And now that our chat is over, you need to head over to valpak.com/thanks and enter to win their Thanksgiving giveaway. They're giving away $1,000, and you can enter in weekly or the grand prize drawing, so you don't want to miss that, because who couldn't use $1,000? Jessie could probably buy 550 turkeys with that. So anyway, you don't want to miss out. So thank you, Valpak, for hosting this chat, and thank you to our awesome guests for giving us these wonderful tips and ideas. We'll see you next time.